What's up, everybody? It's Gramps, and unless you've been living under a rock for the last few weeks, you know that we got our first look at the next Mario Kart game in the Switch 2 reveal trailer. Today, I wanted to talk about 10 things I'd love to see in this new installment of the franchise. Let's get into it. First and foremost, now that we know from the trailer that we're going to have 24 racers, which is still absolutely insane to me, we're definitely going to need some new characters. I think some characters are locked to be added, such as Nabbit and Charging Chuck, since we've seen them in a few of the spin-offs over the last couple of years. But I also want some characters to make a triumphant return. Like, why not bring back Toadsworth? Why not let Goomba drive the car, man? If Goomba can play outfield and can swing a bat, he can drive a car, man. And in addition to that, I'd like to see some more Nintendo characters make the roster this time along. It'd be awesome for characters like Kirby, Samus, Fox, and even Captain Falcon to make this roster. Like, we already have 2 F-Zero tracks, why not add the man himself? I also think to go along with all these new characters and new additions to the roster, to add some variation on top of that, we should see skins in this game. But not just simple, lazy color changes like the Smash skins. In fact, I think you could honestly rip some of these straight from Tour, because if you've never delved down the rabbit hole of playing Tour, especially when it first came out, when it was really popular, Tour has some really great character skins to pull from. Like, look at some of these. I'll throw them up on screen right now. These look great. The next thing I want to see in this new installment of the franchise is new music. Don't get me wrong, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe has, in my opinion, one of the best soundtracks for a game of all time. But I really want Nintendo to go all out on making new music for this game. It feels like this game is almost a sort of soft reboot of the series, especially with the changes in the art direction that we've seen so far. And I think new music would definitely add to this being an almost reimagining of the series. I also would love for Nintendo, with this new music, to go in a different kind of direction for the music this time. Because even though that jazz-inspired sound is really amazing and we all love it, I really want something different this time around, something new, something that they haven't even done before. And I know I'm a bit biased because I've been watching Initial D lately, but I would love for them to implement some Eurobeat elements into the music this time around. Like, listen to how amazing this Eurobeat style remix of Big Blue is that I found. To go along with these new changes in music that I'm hoping to see with new soundtracks and just overall new music direction, I think it'd be great to have the ability to customize the music in a similar way to Smash, whether it's simply choosing the music for a track specifically, or maybe specific tracks have different styles of that track that are different genres of music. I think Nintendo really has a lot of options to choose with customization, and the guideline is really right there with Smash Ultimate. Another feature I want to see in this new installment of the franchise is the return of character-specific karts. I miss character-specific karts. They added so much personality to the races, and I would love for Nintendo to bring them back. Now, I don't want these to come back at the cost of kart customization like we've had in 8 Deluxe, but maybe they can be added as almost a secondary option for players to use, and maybe if Nintendo want to go down this route, these character-specific karts could give characters unique boosts or abilities that tie into this gameplay, because we have no idea what the gameplay is going to be like in this title. For example, maybe if you're using Yoshi and you have the option to use Yoshi's egg cart, you get the ability to get his egg item from Double Dash at the cost of it, maybe lowering your stats a little bit. I'm not really sure how that worked, but I think that would be an interesting thing for them to play around with. But overall, I just feel like the return of character-specific karts would add so much charm to this game. The next item on our wish list, you probably saw it coming, is a new mechanic for this game. One exciting direction that I think the Mario Kart series could be taking inspiration from for the new mechanic in this game could be from Mario Bros. Wonder, and incorporating Wonder Flowers into the gameplay in some form. Imagine racing through a familiar course when someone hits a Wonder Flower, causing this entire track to transform in wild and unexpected ways. Walls might start moving to create or block off paths, shortcuts could appear out of nowhere, or maybe the entire course could shift its layout, like a flat section becoming a spiraling vertical climb. Gravity could flip, turning a straight way into a challenging upside down roller coaster. Overall, these transformations could be insane. We could also incorporate hazards, for example. Maybe a track might flood, turning the race into an underwater adventure where handling changes drastically, or giant enemies could emerge and stomp across the track, forcing players to dodge or weave through their attacks. By incorporating such a dynamic, course-altering mechanic, Mario Kart could evolve into an even more chaotic and fun experience than it already is, and I really think that we could see wonder mechanics make their way into Mario Kart. The next thing we gotta talk about for this new Mario Kart is items. Similar to the signature carts for characters, let's revive the signature items for characters as well. Those items, like the carts, gave characters a lot of individuality and made the experience of using different characters actually feel different in game. Along with this, I want to see some new original items come to the game as well. Like, one I was thinking of is maybe we have a magnet that auto collects coins for a small period of time, or even just a shield item that deflects shells backwards when held behind you instead of just breaking them, and you can hit somebody behind you. I think just new items would definitely add to this being an exciting new experience for the franchise, and if you were to bring back these signature items as well and signature carts, it would just add a lot of individuality to characters, and that's always a good thing for a game like this where you're probably going to have a large roster. The next thing I want to see in this new installment of the franchise is some form of challenges or missions or achievements. We need more reasons to keep players coming back to this title, especially if it ends up being a launch title for the Switch 2. With Breath of the Wild setting the bar so high for depth and replayability at the original Switch's launch, a new Mario Kart would have a lot to live up to, especially if it's the sole launch title. A robust challenge mode, achievements, and daily missions could add to this depth that it would need to really be a standalone title at launch. Imagine missions that could test your skills in a new way, like maybe you have to finish a race without drifting in a specific amount of time, or you have to perfectly time shell hits, or clear a course while constantly dodging hazards. And then you pair that with meaningful achievements along the way, and maybe some form of rotating daily objectives, like setting a time trial record, or completing a certain number of item hits in online races. And you've got content players who grind day after day. I think these features would give the game long-lasting appeal and keep it exciting far beyond the first race. Next, let's shoot for the stars with a single-player mode that takes Mario Kart to new heights. With this likely being, like I said, a major launch title for the Switch 2, why not introduce a dynamic story mode where you're racing to save the Mushroom Kingdom? Each track could feature unique objectives like collecting key items, or maybe outrunning a chasing boss, or racing through a collapsing environment. And along the way, you would encounter iconic characters who contribute to the story. Maybe there's adding twists to the narrative. Maybe some characters go from rivals to allies within this story mode. It's definitely an ambitious thing, and I don't think it's going to happen. But imagine how much a mode like this could elevate Mario Kart beyond just racing and turn it into a fully immersive adventure like that we haven't seen before, and we know Nintendo loves to innovate. It would give the game more depth and create a lasting impression as a flagship title for the new console, being the Switch 2. Going along with this theme of keeping replayability up and just adding more depth to the game, I think that online tournaments are an absolute must for this game. But they shouldn't just be limited to Nintendo hosted events like they were in the past. Tournaments, I think, should be an integral part of Mario Kart's online experience. You should be able to let players create and join their own competitions at any time. And on top of that, imagine like weekly leaderboards showcasing who the best racers have been worldwide. And to complement that, maybe some form of unique rewards for top placements in these tournaments or weekly leaderboards to keep the competition fierce. And to make this work seamlessly, however, online play needs to have dedicated servers this time around for smooth, lag-free racing. With robust matchmaking, customizable tournaments, and leaderboards, tracking individual and maybe even some form of team performance, which would be a whole other thing that I think could be a really cool thing to play with, Mario Kart could become the ultimate competitive experience for a casual racer, but also in a competitive form. It would raise the bar for online gaming on Nintendo's part, and I really think Nintendo's going to have a focus on online and online multiplayer with the Switch 2, and I think this would be a good way to set that precedent. Similar to the story mode or some form of dedicated single player mode, this one is definitely also a stretch goal, but I think it's probably my most wanted feature on this list, and it's a track editor. Imagine a track editor in this new Mario Kart game, and it feels like the perfect next step for Mario Kart. It could be a creation tool inspired by Mario Maker, where players can design their own courses, place obstacles, and even add their own dynamic hazards. And then you could share these tracks with friends or even maybe a wider online community, and this could open the door to endless creativity and replayability for a game like Mario Kart. Plus, with the rumored mouse-like features for the new Joy-Cons, which we've seen time and time again, as much as recently as I believe last week we saw sketches of the Joy-Con being used as a mouse, it would be more intuitive than ever to make this happen. You could drag, drop elements for tracks at ease with just precision like you wouldn't be able to with just a regular controller or regular Joy-Cons, and it would make the process accessible to everyone. Not only would a track editor tie in the beautiful Nintendo tradition of fostering creativity, but it would also establish Mario Kart as a game that truly evolves with its players, which would be an awesome precedent to set for the series. Lastly, my last wish for this new installment of the franchise is to make these tracks feel alive, with dynamic weather effects and a day-night cycle. Picture how a track could play differently, completely depending on weather. It could be sunny, it could be stormy, the track could be bathed in moonlight, rain could add slick surfaces, foggy nights might reduce visibility, and sunrise could bring vibrant colors and new energy to the races. Now imagine we were to combine this with the Wonder Flower mechanic we talked about earlier. A sunny track could flood after activating a Wonder effect, turning it to an underwater challenge. Or during a storm, the Wonder might cause lightning strikes to rearrange obstacles, or maybe lightning strikes all on the course the entire time for the rest of the race. Even the time of day can impact these transformations, like stars illuminating new paths or hazards at night. Dynamic environments paired with these new mechanics, like the Wonder Flower mechanics that we're just talking about, could make every lap feel fresh and exciting, adding just, like I said, more layers of unpredictability and strategy to every race, and really adding to the replayability that I think this installment of the franchise will need. That's my wish list for the new installment of Mario Kart. I don't know if we're going to call this Mario Kart 9, Mario Kart 10, Mario Kart X. I feel like all these names are being floated around. But let me know what you guys think. Was there stuff that I may have missed, or a feature or something that you guys wish to see in the next game that I didn't even think about or put on my list? Drop it in the comment below. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Peace.